Go ahead. Make my day.
Long live the king. You killed him. No. I am your father.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too. Ah!
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
Hello everyone, it is obviously 2003 and I'm here once again joined with Augie the Froggy.
Hey, so this is the WrestleMania discussion, right?
Yeah, who do you think's gonna win?
I think Brock Lesnar's gonna win, and John Cena's gonna win, and Chris Benoit. Those are my picks.
Yes. And we're doing part 2 of our Texas Chainsaw Massacre discussion here at Odds and Ends Movie Corner.
Yeah, that's it. We're doing the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie.
Yes, we're doing a discussion of the sequel of the 2022 Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a follow-up to the original one that we did from the 1974 Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Both same title, different years. All that.
I think this one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and the original one was the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or vice versa, something like that. One of them took off the, so
Yeah,
I don't fucking
the
remember.
new one is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, which is stupid, but yeah, so I don't know. I guess I read supposedly that this one was going to come out in theaters, but the test screenings were pretty bad, so they decided to sell it off to Netflix or something.
Yeah, so that's what we gotta do.
Eh,
Is just make a bad movie for test screening and then just sell it to Netflix.
yeah, and then then we saw, like I said, I mentioned the other one. Then my wife hadn't seen the other one, and I was kind of, I don't know, just I'll fucking see any horror movie pretty much. And I wanted her to see the original one before we saw this one. So we watched this one, and I had some thoughts. And I guess the director for this one was some guy named David Blue Garcia. And evidently he's a new guy. I mean, not a super young guy, not a super old guy.
Mm.
But I think this is his second film that he's directed, and the other one was some low budget indie movie. And as we mentioned earlier, this one came out earlier this year, maybe sometime in February, so
Yes.
2022. And as far as people that star in it, I'm not too familiar with any of the actors. I guess the main actress is an actress named Elsa Fisher, who was known for the movie Eighth Grade. I don't know if you remember when that movie came out, maybe a couple years back.
I do
It
know.
was some independent movie.
Hmm.
So it got a lot of good reviews and stuff, but I mean, I never saw the movie Eighth Grade. I went to eighth grade, but I never saw the movie Eighth Grade. So, yeah, so I guess she's the main actress in this movie. And I don't know, without giving too much away, I would say a brief overview of this movie would be that I guess a group of young people, again, like the other one, and I think in the description it refers to them as influencers,
Yeah.
are in,
What'd you say? Hipsters, millennials?
hipster millennials, influencers. I would say influencers, quotation marks. I think I want to say in the Netflix description that's how it refers to them.
Hmm.
And pretty much they're investing in this Texas ghost town where 50 years ago, roughly, the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre occurred. And so that's kind of like a non-spoiler brief. If you ask me what this movie is about, not knowing anything about any of it, I would say that's kind of the brief overview of it.
That's a fair assessment. Yeah, it's basically a ghost town that they're trying to revitalize, make it their own little, I don't know, I don't want to say utopia, but they're just basically trying to flip this ghost town, and that's when bad things start to happen.
Yeah, that's a vague enough description.
And um, okay, so let me see. I think yeah, that's pretty good. And I believe it was what about? It wasn't even that long of a movie. It's about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's about the same exact length as the original one. For some, it's pretty much the same length as the original one, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. Apparently had an estimated budget of around $20 million. Damn, that's quite a
Yeah,
difference than the original.
and that cost $20 billion,
20 million
billion.
million.
Okay,
It's a group. Was it four people? It was a couple and two sisters,
correct.
and they're basically making a road trip for a business venture. Look, they're based out of Austin, and they're making this road trip to Harlow, Texas, and they don't really quite say at the very beginning why they're going there, but they're making the trip. It seems like the the male of the thing, he has I guess a successful food truck business going on, and his partner was, I guess, the influencer, the internet influencer. They're kind of like partnered together, and they're trying to make this joint venture. And
Yeah, a little, not to cut you off, but a little bit before that, like the movie starts off. I guess it's somewhat. I mean, it's relevant, I guess, but they start off at a souvenir gas station type place,
yes, at not not the
and
same gas station, but a gas station.
yeah, and it's kind of important later on, but or maybe in my thinking of it, but so the one of the sisters is watching like a video or a documentary thing. It's like a little souvenir shop slash gas station, and that's when you find out a little backstory about the Sally from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They just mentioned a thing, and she asked the cashier, "Whatever happened to Sally? Did she ever find Leatherface or some shit like that?" And then the gas station guy goes, "It's kind of hard to find somebody who wears a mask or some shit like that." But
Yeah. 'Cause yes, at this gas station, that's where I guess they're fueling up, getting snacks, what have you, and they have a bunch of just like um, Texas Chainsaw Massacre type memorabilia, keychains, shirts, what have yous. And I believe she buys like a little keychain, a chainsaw keychain for her sister. And yeah, and on the TV, it's just like probably some DVD or VHS thing they just have running in the background in regards to the massacre back in the 70s. And that's pretty much when they're done gassing up and getting ready to go. That's when they are, I guess, on the other side of the pumps. The guy in a big ass truck was like a diesel truck, huge exhaust, very loud, and all that comes by.
yeah, the stereotypical heavy metal music playing and shit.
Yeah, so they come up, and of course, it was, I think, the sister. She's just kind of making snarky remarks about guys driving big trucks and all that. And I think they also see he has a gun holstered, so like, oh, got the big truck and gun, this and that. So it's kind of, and she's talking out loud,
Yeah,
so the guy can hear them. So um, and it's during this, while they're having this, not necessarily altercation, but they're just kind of having this dialogue back and forth. That's when you see the main character that you're talking about. What's her name? Elise?
uh, it's Liza, I think. Let me see what the
Lila.
fuck her name. Layla, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. So that's her, um, the name in the movie. Let's go with that, Lila. And she's kind of feels awkward about the situation. And it's shortly after when they kind of, I guess, go more into detail why she's kind of being freaked out about it. and it's on uh, the drive. They leave the gas station, correct? And that's when she's kind of like rubbing at her like her collarbone area.
Yeah, they part ways, and then she's like the two sisters and the couple. Like you said, the one sister, I don't know, her name is Mel. I think her name is Mel.
Melody.
Melody, and she's the one that's the influencer. And her and the other main character, Dante, are cooks or whatever, influencers, internet people. And the other two are kind of tied to them, the sister and then the girlfriend of the or fiance to the Dante character.
Yes.
And then yeah, they're kind of establishing mood, like it's more modern now, like they got the fancy self-driving car and the social media and stuff. And on Liza's or Elsa's or what was her name again? Layla.
Lila. Yeah.
Lila's social media feed, it's just a bunch of anti-gun messages and stuff. And then through just that little quick thing, I guess, and that's like I was talking to you about it a while ago. That's some of the stuff I missed, some of the background since I have the baby. Like I kind of couldn't pay attention too much, but yeah, and that you see that it was like a school shooting, and that there's a little post that I think the sister or the Dante posted saying, "Hey, we bought a ghost town," something like that.
Gotcha.
And then that's when, yeah, I'm sorry, and she kind of covers her neck a little bit, which you can kind of see like a gunshot wound.
Yeah, it looks like like some type of bullet wound, and they kind of go more into details about that later. But yes, she I guess survived some type of school shooting, and I guess Melody's the older sister, which is trying to convince Layla, the shooting victim, like this will be good going to the small town. It's gonna be our little thing. It trying to be the protective older sister that will make sure you don't have to worry about anything. You should be okay, kind of thing. And it's when they're en route, that's when they come across not necessarily a roadblock, but I'll say a checkpoint. And it's just like a little, almost like a paddy wagon. I guess it's the sheriff and his deputy, and they they pull him over, and they're already kind of getting a feeling that this is gonna be trouble. And when the sheriff comes up to the window, he's like, "I know who you all are. I just want to make sure you
Well,
guys."
before that happens, oddly enough, like they had parted ways with that other guy, the gun-toting Texan, stereotypical, I guess, Texan guy or whatever. And he just drives by them speeding with smoke coming out of his truck and everything. And he just drives by hauling ass with this heavy metal music.
That's right.
And they're the ones that get pulled over, oddly enough.
Yes. He just barrels right past him, I think going on the wrong side of the road and all that.
And it's kind of Dante's a black guy, so then when he gets pulled over, he's all freaked out that the fucking cops stopped us and they didn't stop that other dude with the gun, redneck truck driver guy, but they stop us and he's all freaked out.
Yes. And it's for the most part with that incident, it's just the sheriff just he knows who they are, he knows what they're going to do, regard to like those small town, and um, he gives them not a stern warning, just like he's basically saying, don't make the town look bad, don't make us look, don't cause any trouble, and he lets them go on their way without incident, no, I guess any other type of harassment or anything like that.
Yeah, it's kind of like this one tries to subvert your expectations because I guess when you see this, like you're thinking, oh, okay, it's going to be one of those things. The cops are going to be assholes to the young out of towner guys, hipsters, whatever, millennials. But the cops were decent. Like when I was watching, I was like, oh, okay, so here comes the cops being assholes and all this. But
Yeah.
like you said, without incident, everything went out with incident. And the cop said something, I guess, kind of relevant. He just said something about some of us were here in its prime, referring to the city or the town or whatever. Just please be respectful because some of us were in the prime. And then Mel says that her grandmother was born here or whatever, whatever. So I guess trying to comfort the guy or let him know that yeah, we're going to be respectful to this town or whatever.
Yes, because I think they knew like the town motto or something like that. They shared that camaraderie.
Yeah, and
Which
then it's just like okay, the cops aren't complete assholes or nothing.
yeah, and because yeah, it's a small town cops. The kind of the paddy wagon thing. They both happen to be white. Um, but it's yeah, it's without incident. They don't get harassed, and they're able to make it to said small town. It seems like a drive. They don't quite show like how long. It's all within daytime, but it's not sure if it's like minutes from that checkpoint or hours, what have you. But they get to the small town. They're trying to figure out what's going on, and it looks completely vacant and barren. It looks like it's a small downtown area. There's I guess looks to be a shops, a movie theater, let's say apartments, and I guess there's I guess we see like what they're looking for the groundskeeper, the guy who's kind of like I guess kind of maintaining the area for now.
Yeah, well, they get to this small town and it looks like a stereotypical Western town. I guess kind of like in the old West days, and it's probably just because it's shot in some other country and like a homemade, like or not a homemade, but like a set. Like
Yeah.
it's like it looks like there's probably nothing inside the building. It looks like a movie set kind of, but it works for its being a ghost town.
Yes.
And yeah, they get there, and it's basically it looks like an old western ghost town that's back like it's been like long since vacant or whatever. And then they're all excited looking around, and then I just made note because it's kind of funny, but foreshadowing that Dante gets out of town and out of the car, and they're just kind of making small talk. And I guess I don't know who it wasn't too like kind of on the fence about it, and he just says something like, "All this place needs is some young blood." Kind of maybe having a double meaning there, and just needs some young blood,
Yeah.
and that yeah, they have a vision for the place. And his girlfriend, I don't even know her name. She's probably the least important character. His girlfriend is wants to start an art gallery there, and like you said, there's just a couple of buildings. There's like a church and some other little buildings there, and
Yes.
that's when they see like sitcom or whatever. Like they see the truck guy, the guy with the big truck and the gun. He's there in the town. He's like the only one that they see in the town, and his name is Richter. I guess kind of like Andy Richter.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's the contractor. I guess he was hired by Dante over the phone to help kind of work on the stuff before they got there. So yeah, and it's kind of like, oh fuck, we were making dick jokes about you and making fun of
Yeah.
you about the gun and stuff, and you're the guy that's been working on like the little maintenance around this town.
Yes. And so yeah, we're off the bat. They're up onto the wrong foot. And for the Richter guy, he kind of has like an oh shit moment. It's like I should have saw this coming. But for the most part, they're cordial. It's no threats, no big anything. They're being professional.
Yeah, and again, it's subverting your expectations because you think, okay, this guy's gonna be an asshole. This hardcore gun toting redneck pickup truck guy is gonna be, but he seems more, he seems less judgmental than they were. Like it's just kind of again like subverting your expectations. Like, oh, okay, well, I thought he was gonna be like that, but he's not. He's actually, like I said, they're kind of cordial.
Yeah. And so that's when they're I guess kind of formally introducing themselves and they're setting that down and they're looking around and I guess it's one of the other buildings on that same little strip. That's what maybe 2-3 blocks long, not that big of a downtown area.
Yeah, it looks like a studio set, like it's like those old time movies where it was like Pee Wee's Big Adventure, where you can tell it's like just basically a movie set or whatever. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's a ghost town. It's not huge, but it works for
seeing like
the story.
the little shop of horrors
Yeah,
and So yes, on this main small strip, they're just kind of looking around. They look up, and um, that's when they see on like a flagpole. They see this very old Confederate flag that's still swinging or swaying in the air, which immediately gives them all bad vibes and gets them uneasy. And they're obviously wanting to get that down since obviously again Dante happens to be black, and they're having a group of investors coming via I guess a tour bus, and they definitely want to get that down before they get there because they don't want to I guess spook or just
Yeah, send the wrong image or
yeah. So it's like this is what they don't want or what they're trying to change from. So they're trying to make sure that they get rid of that, and that's when they we're gonna try. That's why they're trying to reach out to the foreman, the groundskeeper guy, the Richter, to see if he can help get it removed. And that's when they're trying to also go inside the building to see if they can um, take it off the flagpole because it's like on the second floor, maybe like a burglar bar window, but um, they're trying to get it down as quickly as possible. And in the process of doing that, it's a very old, dusty um I'll say yeah, like a boarding room, maybe a boarding house. And
it pans to the little plaque. Like it doesn't say it, but like it pans to the little plaque. It says whatever something. I guess Harlow Orphanage, or it shows you. It doesn't say it like outright, but you see the sign that says it's an orphanage that they're going inside.
okay. Yes. And that's when it shows like the the portrait of all the I guess orphans.
Hmm.
And there I guess happens to be one vicarious person in the background standing in the back. I forgot that he was like scratched out, right? Like they couldn't see the face.
Yeah, the face was scratched out.
And so it's kind of saying tone in this orphanage, and um, it's disheveled, no bones, nothing like that. But it's definitely disheveled, just old paper all over the place, what have you. And that's when they run into, I guess she's Mrs. MC. She was what she ran the
MC Hammer.
orphanage, not that MC Hammer.
Hey, it might be more relevant. Maybe it is the origin story of MC Hammer.
This is possible. That's where the parachute pants came from.
Uh,
Is they too
uh,
legit to quit?
uh,
But yes, that's where they run into her.
yeah, and I guess I don't think we mentioned that. Um, so supposedly this is like a direct sequel, like to the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and all the other ones are no longer or considered canon, right? So this is like the follow up, and all the other ones story wise aren't relevant or don't need to be. Like you don't need to see all the other ones now. So
Correct. They just don't exist.
okay, so yeah, I just want to. We should have mentioned that earlier, but yeah. And so yeah, this lady just runs the orphanage, and she's confused by these people inside her building or whatever, and they're confused by her being there because they thought it was going to be evacuated or it's going to be nobody was going to be there.
Yes, because there seems to be miscommunication. Because according to them, this should be a complete ghost town. There should not be anyone living there. It should be completely vacant. But she's claiming that this is still technically her residence. She still has the deed to the house, and she should technically be living there. She's not squatting, but she should, I guess, in her understanding, legally still be living there. And she was going on the importance of the orphanage that was very successful, and that I guess that's when she kind of mentions that she's still looking after someone.
Yeah, something along those lines. And
And
then yeah, they're just basically having a dispute over she's about the title of the property or something,
the
and she
deed.
said that the yeah that she I guess she admitted that she had problems with the bank, but she was able to square it away.
Yes. And not it just kind of became a he said she said because Dante claims that he has paperwork that he doesn't have on him at the moment that says that they they own it, but she says she took care of whatever she needed to take care of with the bank to um, be the rightful heir or the rightful owner, and all the while, it's I guess there's this other person that's been on the second floor, just kind of quiet, and I guess it's safe to say that right now that it seems to be that's who Leatherface is.
Yeah, I mean they don't outright say it, but I mean if you're watching this movie, you already know that that's who it is. Yeah, when they first get there and they kind of have that encounter, the old lady first sees Dante and them, and they see her. He's standing in the stairway, like not in view, like you can't really make him out, but
Just the silhouette.
like, and then two, like, yeah, and then when you see his picture on the, like you said, it was scratched out as a child or whatever, like you know that's Leatherface, and it's just like yeah, like that's him, but. And then anyway, that so like they're having that dispute, and they're kind of like you said, cordial until the lady does like that old lady. She kind of got an oxygen tank, but she's an old decrepit lady herself, and she makes like a faux pas, and she just mentions to Dante that because he said something maybe about the Confederate flag or whatever, and she just says something like, "I've what you call it? I've had many Negro boys or something." She says something real weird, and like it just rubs Dante the wrong way. It just comes across weird, and
Yeah,
it's just that she's an old lady because she just addresses the kid about the issue with the flag that it's not, I don't mean anything by it. It reminds me of my granddad. I've had many Negro boys in here, and I don't have anything against them or something along those lines. And that's kind of when all discussion about the deed and everything. Dante just like, okay, I'm not even going to spend time trying to argue with you. Like I know I'm right, and you're old, and you're
shouldn't
dumb.
be
And
here.
he's just kind of, yeah, he kind of just walks off or he starts to leave.
Yeah, and it it's kind of crazy because yeah, Dante and Melody, they pretty much they say they're gonna call the cops just to have her basically evicted or forced out. Since according to them, no one should be living there, and this kind of seems odd, maybe because as soon as they like leave the orphanage, as soon as like they walk out the door, like the cops just like happen to come walking in, and I guess for the most part, yeah, they're cordial. They're going up to the old lady. They're telling her it's like now. We told you you shouldn't be here. We told you about this, and that's when they're kind of trying to corral her to leave with them. And it's in the process of this. It seems like she's having some type of an attack. I'm not sure if it's like a heart attack, a stroke, something, but she's not well. And
Yeah, like she's has the oxygen tank, and yeah, when with this all this ruckus and everything, dispute, arguing, whatever caused her to start. I guess she threw up, and then when the cops showed up, yeah, she threw up, and she started having a heart attack or whatever you said.
yes, and so their immediate thought is we need to get her out of here. Now we need to take her to like a hospital or something. So instead of calling for like an ambulance or anything like that, they decide they're just gonna put her in their I guess paddy wagon.
I
And
think like they might have even made a comment that they were also the ambulance people, or I guess it's supposed to be some real small town, or maybe I'm misremembering. But yeah, like their little wagon thing was like the little ambulance thing as well, or I don't even know. Maybe I'm wrong, but yeah, they just put her in the back of the thing.
'cause I think she was struggling, and they don't really show his face, but yeah, Leatherface is like once he sees her in distress, he comes
Oh
basically to
yeah,
her side, and I think he pretty much carries her to the van, and they just kind of they shrug him off. It's like okay, whatever. He's kind of like the special mute kid that she's taking care of, and they're kind of a package deal. Um, so he helps get her into the van, and that's when they pretty much uh, they're getting ready to leave, and Dante's fiance, her name in the movie is Ruth. She decides, for whatever reason, she has to go with them just to make sure the old lady's okay. Um,
Yeah, exactly. For whatever reason, because yeah, it's kind of like, huh?
So, she rides up front with the sheriff, the deputy, Leatherface, and the old lady ride in the back, and that's when they drive away to, I guess, to the nearest hospital, however far that is, and leaves the rest behind. At which point, the sisters start freaking out, wondering if they were the cause of the old lady having a stroke or heart attack, whatever it was, an episode, and they're worried that if she dies, their death is going to be on their hands. They're getting like a bunch of guilty vibes.
Yeah, Lisa. I'm sorry, fuck, I don't remember her name. She says, "Yeah, this is a bad omen or whatever." And yeah, Mel's kind of worried about it too, but Dante kind of doesn't really give a shit. But at that moment, I think then the bus of the potential investors shows up, so it's kind of like they gotta change their focus on that.
Yeah.
But Dante's more into selling the property place, like and then Mel is a little bit more concerned. And
Yes. And at which point, Lila, she's just kind of there. She's along for the ride. She's not really part of this business venture. She's a sister, and
yeah, since she experienced that school shooting, the Mel, the older sister, just kind of wanted her to get away from that environment or that area and just kind of have like a fresh start. So
yeah,
yeah, she's just kind of along for the ride, like you said.
and I believe when the tour bus gets there, Melody's telling Layla just to hang out in the van in the tour bus until all this blows over and it gets done. But Lila decides to, like, you know what, I'm just gonna walk. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna just whatever, blow off some steam, explore, and that's when she runs into Richter and his, I guess, body shop that he's working out of,
Yeah,
and he's working on his big ass pickup truck, and then uh, music's playing in the background, and um, on one of his workbenches, you see like it looks like an AR-15. It's just
yeah, just a fuck.
yeah, it's just there on the table.
Yeah, like why the fuck is? Why would he just have the gun like just there? Like it's not even his handgun. That okay? I think he mentioned earlier he uses it to shoot feral hogs or whatever. But yeah, he has this big ass fucking gun just there lying on the table like nothing.
Yeah, um, and she eyeballs it. She's kind of looking at it, and I don't know if it flashes back, but nonetheless, yes, she's school shooting survivor. She's very anti-guns, and but she's kind of feeling the gun. She's looking at it, and he's kind of showing it to her how to hold it. I guess maybe how to shoot it, how to look at the sights, whatnot, and um, it looks like she's kind of showing an interest into it, and they have very small talk, and I believe it's kind of the scene changes from them and goes to Melody and Dante, because at this point the investors are there, and what it's basically kind of like an auction in full swing.
Yeah, so I'm assuming they bought the town and they're trying to sell off the little bits of shops and properties to other influenced or hipster people.
Yeah, just then to buy up different parts of the towns, so that they can make it their own and their own whatever ventures that they want to do. So I believe they sold everything. They seem happy, Dante and Melody, because they hit whatever they were gonna hit, and Melody, that's when she's going to look for her sister, and that she goes to the body shop, and I guess there's like it's a loft upstairs. She goes upstairs, and um, it's she sees the Richter. He's just kind of there, and I guess what Melody, she came out of the bathroom where she was like sitting on his bed that was on the floor or something like that.
No, Richter was like, it's kind of interesting. Like again, like I said, they try to subvert your expectations because that small talk when she first just wanders into the shop, like you said, she's looking at the gun, and Richter asked her about it. Like, oh, like she says something. No, she was a victim or whatever, and then like he thinks, oh, was it your dad? And no, a school shooting, whatever. Like he seems like he's a decent enough guy. Like the first impression you get, he's going to be this one-dimensional asshole guy stereotype. But then they're kind of establishing some type of, okay, this guy, yeah, he's maybe about right, because he seemed genuinely like sympathetic towards her situation. Yeah, upstairs, like you said, is the loft, and he's sitting on the bed. And when Melody goes looking for her sister, goes upstairs and sees Richter's on the bed, and then she sees her sister walk out of the restroom with a cigarette in her mouth, and she just tells her like a little kid, "Come here, we gotta go."
Yeah. And so the cinematic scene looks like they did the deed. Lila and Richter and Melody's chastising her. It's like, oh, I can't believe you would do it with him. And Layla's like, we didn't even do anything. We just talked. And so I don't know. They were kind of alone together for a minute. So, but
Yeah.
and while that's going on, is that one? It pans to the I guess the ambulance or the paddy wagon.
Yeah, the Leatherface orphanage lady.
Yes. So it
That
cuts.
store.
Yeah. So I guess again, this is middle of nowhere. It's I think they're in the middle, kind of like driving down this lone stretch highway. It's cornfield on either side. No houses, no shops, anything. And they're driving. And that's when this shows the old lady. She is basically on her last breath, and she basically, I guess, dies. And Leatherface with the oxygen tank there, he's freaking out. He's making noises, and he's turning up the air to the tank, that's thinking that's what's gonna bring her back or wake her up. And he's kind of shaking her, and he's putting the mask on her, making sure it fits to see if she'll wake up. Which obviously she's not. She just died. And the deputy in the back of the paddy wagon with them, he's like, oh shit, it's like she might have just died, telling the sheriff who's driving. And Leatherface is kind of starting to freak out, and that's when the deputy's trying to calm him down. And
Yeah.
I guess he's trying to put a hand on either Leatherface or on the old lady. He's just like trying to calm him down. At which point, that's when Leatherface snaps in more ways than one.
Yeah, he snaps that guy's fucking arm off or wrist in half.
Yeah, he breaks the wrist at the bone where, I guess the wrist bone, whatever that bone is basically sticking out. The
Yeah.
guy's screaming in pain. There's blood everywhere, and he snaps the wrist, bones sticking out, and he stabs the deputy with his own wrist bone
Broken.
right in the throat.
I know the creators of Tom and Jerry or Itchy and Scratchy couldn't have thought of a better. That's just stupid. This is kind of comedic, but yeah, literally just breaks a guy's wrist in half and then he stabs him
One-handed.
with his own.
Like he didn't like grab like the wrist and then grab the hand and then like snap it. No, he just like one motion, like a second, just snaps it and then stabs him in the throat with his own wrist.
Oh, and real quick, just to make note, right before that happened and the lady died, the few seconds in between, the Ruth, the girlfriend or fiance, she looks back and like, oh, the lady's dead, and she goes to her phone and texts everybody that the lady's dead. She texts Mel, or I guess she texts Melody that the old lady's dead.
That's right, because that's why Melody went looking for her sister.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
And then, yeah, because they're not all like, they're not going to live very much longer. Everybody in that paddy wagon thing. So yeah.
So yeah, she sends that message. Lady dies. The cop gets his wrist broken and stabbed in the throat by his own wrist. And I guess with his free hand, that's when he's trying to reach for his gun to shoot Leatherface, and um, he misses horribly, and he shove, he misses Leatherface, and he somehow shoots the sheriff, I believe, in the throat.
Yeah, he
And
shot the sheriff, but he did not shoot the deputy.
so yes, he shoots the sheriff in the throat, causing the 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 van to basically crash into a tractor. And it's at that point I think that it kind of it shows Ruth, the girlfriend in the passenger seat. She kind of wakes up, and she's banged up, bleeding from the head, and what she looks in the back, and that's when she sees the doors open. I guess basically their face is out. Her and Leatherface and the old lady is missing.
Yeah, and just to speed it up, everybody gets killed by him. That's it. Like he kills the fucking fiance, he kills the two cops, and he cuts off the face of his mother character, the orphanage lady. He cuts off her face and puts it on his face.
Yes. So and so yes, he's kind of her face, and he's kind of holding her face to the sun, and you can kind of see it the whole thing, and all the while Ruth is watching this from the rear view mirror, and it's like holy shit. And she's trying to reach to the I thought she was gonna reach for the gun from the dead sheriff. Instead, she reaches the CB radio, and that's when she's just kind of trying to call for help. And she's like, um, there's an accident. I think she said like he's cutting off her face or something like that. There's very key words. Um, and this being a small town, there's no one really there. This is probably the police force. Like that's it. But the gas station attendant from the very beginning of the movie, he was listening to the CB, and he kind of heard it, didn't quite make sense of it, and that's when he makes a call to the what would you say what her role was? She was a Texas
See, it's a
Ranger.
deputy or yeah, Texas Ranger, something like that, retired or I don't know, practicing. I don't know.
Yes. So basically, he makes a call to which would be Sally.
Sally.
Yes, Sally from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It turns out she
Not.
decided.
It's not the same actress. I think the original actress is dead, but the same characters.
Yes. So the original character Sally in the movie from the original um, same storyline, she decided to stick around in Texas, and she became a Texas Ranger to hopefully one day find and avenge her friend's death, to try and find Leatherface. And she gets a call. It's like something's up. It might be your guy in this area. So she saddles up in her Bronco.
Yeah, at that point she's like butchering a pig or a cow or whatever, and yeah, she gets the phone call, and like you said, she saddles up, loads up her guns,
Yes.
and at that point, the audience, all the old and new audiences, are jumping up and shouting that Sally's back.
Is that what you were doing?
Hell yeah, I was doing that.
So, she's trying to make her way back. Um, she kind of not really jumping around, but she makes it to the crash site, and everyone, like you said, everyone's dead, and there's Leatherface.
Okay,
Go ahead.
a little bit before that, because that's about nighttime when she gets to the crash site.
Okay.
But meanwhile, the other characters, I think Mel wants to take off, and because of the old lady dying, she's all freaked out. And then I think Dante, they're arguing about the deed or whatever, the title or whatever, the deed or whatever. And then Richter finds out that the old lady died, and he takes the keys from them from their car and the bus keys, and he says, "You guys aren't going anywhere until you show me that you have the deed and you didn't just kill that old lady. That you guys actually own this property or whatever." Some stupid reason. He just takes the keys,
Yeah.
and at that point, like yeah, like cause, and then Dante thought he had the deed in some folder he had on the bus, and he's looking through there, and he couldn't find he couldn't find the deed in his folder file or whatever on the bus. So then they decided to go back to the orphanage to see if if the old lady did have the deed or not. So they go back into that orphanage to look for it,
Yes.
and it's like if you can guess, Leatherface has left the crime scene over there, and he's probably making his way back to the orphanage.
Yeah. So
And
not.
Sally just missed him. So Sally's at the crime scene now, and it's like nighttime, and it's
Yeah.
all too familiar to her.
So she's at the crime scene, and it seems to be a shrine of the old lady kind of sitting on the hay bale or something with her face missing. And she wasn't where her dead body originally was. And so it's like, fuck. So I guess she's gonna make her way to Harlow. And to your point, yes, back at the orphanage, that's where um, the
Dante and Melly
Melody,
are
yes,
looking
Dante
through
and
the
Melody,
stuff.
they're looking for the deed, and I think one goes upstairs, one stays downstairs, and Dante's downstairs, and lo and behold, that's when he kind of runs into Leatherface, and he gives him what a good chop to the face.
Yeah, they did a pretty decent shot because like you don't like you kind of notice it but don't notice it. When Dante's looking through the kitchen, you kind of see like a cleaver there, and then like all these pots hanging up. And then he hears the noise, and he's looking at the pots that are shaking. And then if you pay attention, you notice that the cleaver's missing. So it's like he Leatherface took it, or the thing is the weapon is missing.
Yeah, so he gives him a good chop. He goes down pretty quickly. Not quite the girly scream from the original Chainsaw
Yeah,
Massacre, but
and it is kind of interesting because it was like the door closes, like you're not going to see it, kind of like the original one. But then it's one of the swinging doors where it does open, and you do see the blood, and you do see the impact of like the hit.
yeah,
Because like pretty much the original one was not as violent, like it was like psychological violence mostly, but like you see the blood and it does okay. Yeah, I mean the guy already got stabbed in the with his broken wrist bone, so I mean you know it's going to be different. It's not going to be just off-screen violence, but
yeah. And so he goes down for the count. Leatherface makes his way upstairs,
oh,
and
but before that, before I guess that actually happened, seconds before, Melody does find the deed for the property in the old lady's things in her bedroom.
okay, yes, yes. And before the old lady died, she was telling Leatherface, "Don't go in the bedroom."
Yeah, be a good boy and don't go in my room.
Yes. So, but she's dead now. Melody finds the deed coincidentally in her bedroom, which Leatherface goes into said bedroom, and um, that's when he starts pounding down the wall. Basically, he finds, or that's where the old lady hid his chainsaw in the wall, and Leatherface comes to break it out. A big ass hammer he has with him too, so that's what he's using to break the chainsaw out.
And
And
Melody's in the same room. Like she fucking heard him and then she hid under the bed. I guess she realized. I think she might have even seen Dante's body real quick, and
yes,
so she ran and hid under the bed that Leatherface is, I guess, sitting on her while he's hammering against the wall. To
so she's out of sight, and Leatherface doesn't know she's in there, so she's hiding. And um, that's when um, Shit.
Dante stumbles like
Yeah.
he stumbles outside. It's raining outside. It's already nighttime, and he's walking. And I think that he's walking by Richter. Richter's calling to him, "Hey, whoa, whatever, whatever, what's going on?" And then Dante turns around. He gets a big old gash in his face, and that's when Richter is like, "Oh, he's not a complete asshole. He sees that something's wrong with Dante, and Dante kind of dies right there, and he goes running to the orphanage." And yeah, then he runs into the orphanage.
Yeah. There was another, I guess, business partner, not too important, I guess, but um, she came with the party bus with all the other investors, but she's kind of like the one leading that group over there. So she basically goes back to the bus, corrals everyone to stay on the bus, and well, they don't have the keys, so they can't go anywhere. But in this bus, it's basically a party bus inside. Everyone's celebrating. There's a DJ, party lights. Everyone's
Yeah,
drinking. So it's like okay, they'll just stay liquored up and be oblivious to what's going on as long as they're having a
and
good
it's
time.
it's raining outside too, so they have to not stay. They can't stay outside, so it's fucking pouring outside. So they have to go
Yes,
inside the bus to kick their party inside.
yes. So yeah, at that point, that's when Richter kind of goes guns blazing inside the house. Is kind of trying to be a little cautious, see what's going on. Um, Melody sees and hears him through a mirror walking into the bedroom. All the while, Leatherface hears him as well, who's hiding behind the door. So Richter doesn't see him, doesn't know he's there. Melody doesn't want to give herself away by yelling in here, look out, whatever. So she quietly, cautiously tries to shift the mirror so Richter could see the reflection of Leatherface. But by the time she does that, it's too late, and Leatherface basically gets the drop on him. And even though he has
He
his gun,
fucking he Peter Gabriel's him and fucking gives him a sledgehammer to the head.
oh, to his shin.
Oh yeah, to his shin first.
Yeah. Um, they kind of went toe to toe for a little bit, but yeah, Leatherface basically clubbed the hell out of his shin, breaking his leg going backwards.
Yeah, it doesn't like veer away from it. You see it. It's not like
Oh, it looked
yeah, you
painful.
see
I
it.
felt it. It's like,
Yeah.
oh.
So yeah, he fucking hammers his leg. Yeah, that's right.
And so yeah, which immediately drops him. He never got a shot off, as he's basically laid on the floor in pain, and that's when Leatherface basically goes to Pound Town on his head.
Yeah, right before though, since he's down, he can kind of see that Mel is under the bed hiding, and he pulls out the keys. Like I guess their way to escape. He doesn't give away that she's under there, but he pulls out her keys, the keys for the van, or the not for the van, for the bus. And like as he does that, Leatherface, like you said, pounds the shit out of his face with the
Yes.
sledgehammer, like repeatedly.
Oh yeah. And so yes, which I don't know. It kind of seeing the way Richter was going in there, guns blazing. At least he was like the tough cowboy. He was gonna at least put up some type of a fight, get Leatherface to run for his money. But now he went down pretty quick.
Yeah,
And that's when um, they are able to escape the house. Melody. It
well, she gets like, yeah, I guess Leatherface leaves the room and works on his chainsaw or something, and she tries to sneak out outside, like without him knowing, but then he does. He ends up hearing her trying to leave down the stairs, and then he gets out, and I guess he throws her down the stairs. But then, since the building's all decrepit, she falls through the stairs, landing into I guess, the basement.
the cross space.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. Like Leatherface is working on his chainsaw or whatnot, and he fucking does like a Jaws. He starts his chainsaw up, and Melody's underground or whatever, and he puts the chainsaw through the wood floor, and he's chasing her with it, and she's crawling to try to get out of the, like you said, the basement crawl space, whatever. And it's just like she can't find her way out. and the chainsaw is literally, I don't know why she doesn't zigzag or whatever, but she stays in the same
Straight line.
like path as a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, she crawls in a straight line, the same as the chainsaw is going. And the only thing that's able to stop the chainsaw is this fucking pipe that eventually the chainsaw is able to cut through, causing all this shit that's been built up by all the orphans over the years to all
Yeah, it was the
explode
sewer
on
pipe.
Melody's face. Yeah. It was a sewer pipe again. All this shit and everything all lands on Melody's face. And then at perfect timing at that, she's by this little window area. And then that's when Elsa or Lisa or Liza or what's the sister's name?
Lila? Li
Lila. She sees her and she's able to break the window and help her pull her through.
Yes. And so I believe they have both sets of keys, or at least for sure they have the tour bus keys, and that's when they run over there and they're for obviously they're freaked out for good reason. At least Melody is, and Lila's just following her lead. They get in there. The coordinator for that group is like, "What the hell is going on?" And they're basically saying, "Look, we just need to go now." And they give the keys to the bus driver. He starts up the bus, slowly making their way, building up speed to get out of there. And that's when I guess that you can kind of hear the tire go pop or something. They don't show it, but you hear it. And so it kind of the bus driver, what just happened? Of course, at this point, um, no one's saying anything about Leatherface on this killing rampage or anything like that. It's like we just need to leave. So
Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. Yeah.
it was a pretty important tidbit of information that they did not share.
Yeah, she should just leave. If she said some guy's chasing you with a chainsaw or whatever, some fucking guy's trying to kill us, I'm pretty sure the guy would have still tried to drive off on a flat tire or whatnot.
Yes. So they don't, and he stops the bus to check what's going on with the tire. And again, it's still pouring. So like he goes out of scene, and it's showing them. I think they immediately close the door, and they what Leatherface just chunks his head in front of the van or in front of the tour bus.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh fuck. So the bus driver's dead. For whatever reason, they're still not driving away. That's when Leatherface makes his way onto the tour bus.
Yeah. It's
And
just all
it's
stupid.
chaos at this point because the two sisters, Melody and Layla, they basically run to the back of the bus, and I think there's only like a curtain to separate the front to the back. That's why no one else really saw what was going on immediately. And
Yeah, and before that, it's just a bunch of stupid cringe shit happens. These hipster people, whatever, bring out their cell phone and they're live streaming Leatherface looking at them and tweeting or Instagramming or whatever the fuck that shit is. And he's just looking at them and they all have their cell phones out and they're like, if you do anything, bro, we cancel you.
yeah,
And at that point, you started clapping your hands.
no,
Yeah. And you started rooting for them.
no,
And you were hoping that they would throw their cell phones really hard at Leatherface and stop him.
no. Asking to talk to his manager.
Yeah. But yeah, it's at that point where I guess the real first ever Texas Chainsaw Massacre happens because fucking Leatherface, like it's just literally, I don't know, maybe 20 people or more roughly on that bus that he starts fucking chainsawing the shit out of.
Yeah, it's like the next 2 to 5 minutes is basically just a bloodbath in this tour bus. Um, like there's no rear exit, and no one's really defending themselves, and Leatherface is like slowly one by one just massacring everyone. All the while,
Yeah.
some of the phones are still kind of like live streaming the massacre, and yeah, he's just gutting, impaling, slicing, dicing, chopping everyone in front of him.
Yeah, and then the one bank lady that helped them with buying the town. She's trying to escape through the window, and he literally cuts her in half. Like half her body goes out of the window, and half of it's in the van or the bus.
So
And it's like that takes place, and then like he's going after the sisters who have, I guess, were able to manage to squeeze their way into like the bathroom
yeah,
on the bus.
yes,
And he sticks the chainsaw through that, almost getting to them, but they're able to escape through maybe a window or a
it was a
top hatch, or
yeah, it was like the roof hatch.
so they're able to get through that, and Leatherface gets his hand through there or something, and that's when Melody stabs his hand with that souvenir
Chainsaw.
corkscrew thing. Yeah, it's chainsaw, corkscrew, whatever the hell that they got at the beginning.
Yeah,
And when they get out of the bus, um, conveniently at the time, that same exact time, that's when Sally pulls up with her truck.
yes, and so it's like a little Bronco, and she shows up. She's like, "Oh, the cavalry's here. We'll be safe." And she tells them, get in the back of the truck," which they do, and they're like, "Let's get the hell out of here. Let's go." And she's like, "No, we're not going anywhere." And they're in the back of the truck. It's a police vehicle, so like it's one of the whole thing where like you can't exit the vehicle from the back of the vehicle unless someone opens it from the outside. So they kind of trap themselves in, and all the while she's just kind of waiting outside with her shotgun, looking for Leatherface.
Yeah, she's been waiting for this day for 50 years or whatever. She tells them to stay in the truck or whatever, and
Yeah,
she's gonna get her revenge or whatever.
yeah, she's kind of using them as bait, and she goes looking for Leatherface, and that's when she finds him, and he's sitting in, I guess, his bedroom in the orphanage.
Yeah, it's kind of dumb, but he has like little kid pictures on his wall painted, like coloring pictures. I guess he's still coloring pictures that he has on his wall.
So,
And then yeah, she has her gun. She walks into the room.
and she's just there. I mean, she's waiting all this time. She has this opportunity. He's right there, and she's confronting him, and it's like, "Do you know me, or do you remember me? Do you know who I am?" Just trying to guess provoke him or get some type of reaction out of him, and he doesn't. She doesn't trigger him basically, and he basically just kind of gets up and walks away.
Yeah, I'll talk about this later. It was just weird because she had the opportunity. She wanted this revenge to shoot him right there and then. And at the same time, he was there. His chainsaw was at his feet. He just walks past her
Yeah,
like nothing happens.
and
And it'll be okay. Well,
yeah, she could have just killed him right then and there, and could have been the end of it, but no. And um, that's when he's basically Leatherface is going after the sisters.
yeah, so that's why it's so weird because he just, like, she doesn't shoot him. They're inside the orphanage at this point. She's in his bedroom. She doesn't shoot him. He doesn't slice her up. He just walks by her, goes back outside to the truck that they're stuck in because, like you said, they can't really get out because it's a police type of cruiser or whatever. And as he's going to get them, Sally comes out and starts shooting at him, yelling, "Do you remember me?" Which is like, wouldn't it have been a lot easier if you would have just shot him while he was inside, not trying to do anything, instead of waiting about a few minutes to wait till he got outside to shoot him?
Yeah,
Like, it was kind of weird, and like, I don't like to try to think too much when things are kind of stupid, but then I don't know, it was just weird.
so But yeah, he almost kills them. They freak out, and it's she tries to shoot him with the shotgun. He kind of runs away, and that's when Sally finally tells the sisters, "Go on, get out of here." It's like I can take care of this. And
She gives him, I think, even the keys to her cruiser or whatever, her car.
yeah,
Or
uh, and so they basically are gonna or take her cruiser to get the hell out of there, but Leatherface cuts them off and forces them to crash the Bronco in the workshop from the dead Richter's workshop.
yeah, Richter's workshop.
Yeah. And Melody, the older sister, was driving, of which now she's pinned in the vehicle and can't escape. And Leatherface is slowly making his way in there, and um,
Well,
Layla. Go ahead.
before Leatherface makes it in there, he fucking stabs. He slices Sally in the chest. He's able
Oh
to
shit,
stab her.
that's right.
Yeah, and then
No, he
he
doesn't
lifts her
stab her,
up.
he impales her.
Yeah, he impales her, lifts her up in the air, and throws her in
In the
this
dumpster.
alley of trash bags. Yeah,
Yeah. Vlad the Impaler would have been proud of him because, like,
yeah. And
yeah,
not only that, he got some distance. Like it's like he lifted her up in the air, Baraka style, and yeah, I can
it's
throws
like,
her. I don't know why they didn't get rid of those trash bags, but I guess it broke Sally's fall somewhat.
yeah. And she kept the shotgun in her hand, and I forgot for whatever reason she wasn't able to shoot him. But yeah, he basically impales her to the hilt, all the way um to her guts, I guess, and yeah, just like
And
chunks her like fucking yesterday's news into the trash. And
it's just I don't know, like it's weird. Like I said, this movie's just it's weird because then it's like, what the hell was the point in Sally? Like it's just like they made it seem like this thing. I mean, I have thoughts on it later, but just in this point on first viewing, it's kind of like, what the hell? What was the point of her? Like I can see people like being like pissed off about it, or maybe not pissed because it's not like anybody really gave a shit about Sally, but it was like, what's the significance of Sally being around if they're just gonna kill her in 2 minutes? And like, it's just kind of weird.
yeah, so she's down for the count. Lila's trying to get Melody out of the Bronco, but she's stuck, and Melody's telling her, "You need to go on without me," and uh, basically she's expecting her imminent death, and um, that's when what Layla that's when she sees the goes for the AR-15,
Mm-hmm.
and she's trying to basically try and defend herself, and she's trying to um, defend her and her sister, and she's gonna try and shoot Leatherface with the gun, but lo and behold, as Leatherface is encroaching her, um, it doesn't want to shoot. The safety's apparently on, and she does not know how to work the gun. And
Yeah, and then instead of finishing off Melody, who he was going after, since he was insulted that Liza or whatever her name was tried to shoot him, he starts turning around and going towards her, who's more towards the outside of the building.
yes,
And as he's pursuing her, fucking guess what?
what happened?
Sally's not dead yet.
What?
She still has enough in her to shoot at Leatherface and maybe even wing him enough to where he runs off into this building, and she's able to save with her last dying like effort Liza. And so Liza's saved by, so Sally did have some significance. She saved, I mean, yeah, Sally saved Liza. And all in the background, I think Mel is yelling at Liza to run away, to run away. And Sally's telling her the opposite. Sally's giving her the bullets and the gun, and she's telling her, if you run away, he will. Oh fuck! Does she say he will haunt you, or he will hunt? No, she says he'll haunt you, right?
I think Hunt, or yeah, Hunt.
Okay. Yeah, she tells him. Let me see. I think I have it in my notes. Yeah, he'll haunt you. And when she was able to shoot Leatherface, like, yeah, he runs into this building. So it's at this point where Lila's at this crossroads. Her sister's yelling at her to run away and just like get out of there. But Sally just finished telling her that you can't run or he will haunt you.
Yes. You gotta take care of this head on.
Hmm. So then at that point, Layla's faced with the decision: does she listen to her sister or does she listen to Sally? Does she run or does she face her thing?
Run, fight, or
And what does
die.
she do? Yeah.
So,
So she decides to go into the building with gun in hand to face off with Leatherface.
yes. And that's what it's looks like. It's a decrepit, abandoned movie theater that's like really falling apart.
Yeah.
And so yes, she took Sally's shotgun, which after she told Sally like um face it or he'll haunt you. That was basically her dying words because at that point Sally dies. She's done for. And Layla's in the movie theater. It's nighttime. It's dark. Not raining anymore, but nonetheless, there's a bunch of like tarps all over the place. The vision's obscured, and she's looking for Leatherface. Um, thinks she finds him, but it turns out to be a mannequin. At which point he comes out from behind her, trying to attack her, and she's narrowly
It,
able to escape.
well, it's kind of interesting. It's weird because, yeah, like you said, that's a mannequin or a poster. I can't remember which it was. And then eventually she hears the chainsaw. And when she looks, I don't know if we're talking about the same part. It turns out that Leatherface tricked her and he just left the chainsaw running. So when she went to point the gun in that direction, she saw the movie poster or mannequin or whatnot.
Mhm.
And then he tackles her into this pit of water. I guess since it's been raining, this hole in the floor had gathered a bunch of water.
Yeah, I guess like
Are
the
we at the same
basement.
spot? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
And
he tackled her into this thing.
yes, and she, I guess, is the first one to emerge, and she's like struggling very hard to crawl out of this. Oh, it almost looks like it's like a swimming pool. It's like that's how deep the water is, and they were both submerged, and she's with great effort getting out of the pool or the whatever the pit. Fucking Leatherface like leaps out of there, like he got like springboarded out of there.
Yeah, like Jason Voorhees at the end of
Like man, he
fucking,
like launches out. He's like right on top of her.
yeah.
It's like holy shit. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like she's about to get done in, but that's when what Melody makes her appearance.
Yeah. And it's weird. So when he tackled her, the chainsaw and the gun were left on the outside of the little pit of water. And I guess it turns out that Melody picked up the gun. Oh wait, no. Sal Liza was able to, whatever the fuck her name was, she was able to get to the gun. All right, oh fuck, I'm trying to remember how did this play out? Do you remember?
I think it was two different scenes, but because that's when they pulled the Terminator 2 with the
All
shotgun.
right, yeah, because Leatherface at some point is able to get back his chainsaw and he throws it at her leg or something, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, because she's trying to run for the gun, and I guess he gets the chainsaw and he throws it towards her, and it chops her in the leg. It doesn't chop her leg off, but it stops her from getting the gun.
Yes. Because I forgot which one it was, the sister wise, but they it's basically like Terminator 2 with the shotgun, almost point blank range, very like less than 10 feet. She's shooting at him while pumping it, and then kind of walking closer to him to kill him. But he's taking each shot. He's kind of staggering backwards, and it looks like it's gonna be the last shotgun blast that's gonna do the death blow. It's gonna kill him. This is all gonna be over with, and the gun just clicks. It runs out of bullets, and yeah, to me, I just got like the Terminator 2, Sarah Connor, the T-1000 feel.
Oh no, I don't know. Like I don't know. Like something else happened because they do that thing where like Leatherface throws the chainsaw at her foot, and she falls down, and she has this flashback of her being on the school floor with the gunshot wound, because it's meant to be this empowering moment, or this like, oh fuck, she's gonna die again. She's back in that same situation where she's helpless and she's about to be killed. And Leatherface is crawling over, like he's towering over her, about to finish her off. And before that happens, that's when Mel comes out. And I guess she gets the shotgun, or she gets something. Wait. No, she jumps on his back. She jumped on his back, and she's able to save her sister again. Does this make sense, or am I misremembering this?
No, I believe so. That part that is a little fuzzy for me, but yeah, more or less that's what um, Melody does come in just in time to save her from Leatherface from killing her.
Yeah, and then I guess in that little thing when she's on his back, and I guess he flails her off eventually. That's when Layla, or whatever her name is, Lila, is able to get the gun, and that's what she said. She does the T2 thing or whatever, and just shooting at him with the shotgun or whatever gun it is.
Yeah.
And then what happens after it clicks empty?
Leatherface is trying to regain his composure and basically go ready to kill some sisters, but that's when they wield the chainsaw. I believe it's Layla. She is wielding Leatherface's chainsaw, and she gives him looks to be the uppercut of death with the chainsaw. I want to say revving. She she gives him uppercut with the blade, and which sends him flying backwards into the pit of water. And
Yeah,
you slowly start to see Leatherface just kind of sink into the basement, or the water, the pool. And
and does he give a thumbs up like Arnold?
no, not this time. So um, he knows not why. Now how he cannot cry, but he knows why. I forgot the damn line. But
No,
anywho,
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Terminator 2, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, I don't know what line you're talking about.
He sees John Connor crying, and it's like, I don't know.
That's fine. You could add it in later. Huh.
But they down Leatherface, and so it's by now it's the sun's out. It's the next day. Well, it's again that spanned pretty much 24 hours. They're relieved, elated that this crisis is behind them. The tour bus is broken, full of dead bodies. So at this point, they decide to get in their uh, smart car, which can self-pilot itself, and they're setting the destination to go back home in Austin. And
And well, before they get into the car, what's her name? Lila picks up Sally's cowboy hat, and she had an old picture of the trip from the gang, I guess from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. She picks up that picture, pockets it. She puts Sally's cowboy hat on, and then yeah, they get loaded up into the car.
okay, and as they're getting to ride into the sunset and try and forget this treacherous nightmare. Um, they're both kind of just getting lost in their small chit chat with each other, and for whatever reason, the car is going like 5 miles an hour when it's autopilot piloting away. And
Yeah, self-driving cars.
yes, but I figured they could at least still do the speed limit. But anywho,
Yeah.
um, the fucking passenger window bursts open, which is the side Melody's on. She gets fucking yanked out of the car, and lo and behold, it's Leatherface, alive and kicking, and chainsaw in hand. And the car's in autopilot for whatever reason, despite the window being broken, it doesn't detect that, and it's still driving 5 miles an hour. And Layla doesn't stop the car. She can only look back, looking through the rear view.
The sunroof. She
Oh, so the
steps out
sun.
as like a. Yeah.
Okay. And she's looking through the sunroof in horror as her sister Melody's on her knees. Leatherface is basically has her by her head, by her hair, and with one swift move, fucking just decapitates her and fucking killing Melody just like that. And I thought Leatherface was gonna chunk the head at Layla, but he doesn't. And
Yeah.
he's just kind of holding it up there. It's like, oh shit. And which,
Yeah, he has head and chainsaw in hand.
yeah. And Layla, all she can do is just scream in horror and look as her sister is beheaded, all the while the car is still in autopilot, just slowly making its way out of there. And that's kind of how the movie ends, at least.
Oh, don't forget he fucking does his twirl again. He twirls in the circle with the head and the chainsaw in the air.
Does he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he twirls again.
Always twirling.
Yeah.
So, yes. Despite it all, Leatherface makes it, and it cuts to the basically the cast. Movie's over.
Yeah,
Showing,
movie's over. That's it.
yeah,
Shut it off.
yep. But wait, in the voice of Billy Mays, there's more. And
What's left?
at the end of the credits, post-credit scene, it's showing Leatherface. It's showing him just kind of walking, and it's just kind of showing like his legs and whatnot. And the camera kind of pans from behind, a rear shot of him, and he looks like he's walking to the house from the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Leatherface is going home,
Yeah.
and
And then
that's the end of the movie after the post-credit scene.
the end.
Yes.
And so yeah, that was pretty much the movie. What did you think of it?
I thought the movie was a little bit all over the place. For
Yeah.
um, for taking it what it is, just being like a Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I don't know if they're trying to revitalize, especially with the very end post-credit scene. But for just kind of a hack and slash, obviously more gore. They were trying to add some modern topics, I guess, into it as well.
Yeah. It's just a lot more was going on in this one than the other one.
Oh yeah.
And it's just interesting. I know, like we mentioned earlier, that the other ones aren't really canon anymore, but I don't remember. I've probably seen most of the other ones, maybe with the exception of one or two of them.
Mhm.
But like, I don't remember them for shit. And it's just weird, like how do these movies find the balance of character development? Because the first one worked really well without any character development. It's not like the original characters were really hardcore developed, but it didn't need to. Like, it was just kind of interesting. And I know, like, some of the other ones, I know, like, it was like, I don't know, one of the ones with Arlie Ermy, like, was like two brothers that were going to join the army and some romance thing that they try to build. And like, it's like, man, I don't give a shit about these characters. And it's like, man, like, I don't care. I just like, it's just weird for them to find the balance of trying to develop these characters and trying to make them get like trying to like make Leatherface a badass, or I don't know. It's just this weird balance that it has to go through.
Yeah, I mean, like the first one, it was just completely spontaneous. It was just a road trip from hell, a series of bad events that just happened. And I guess before there, I mean, there was no Leatherface, so without they set a bar. I don't know if like now everything's always trying to up that bar, but there was no bar before. So I'm not sure if like all these sequels and everything now, especially now where with the effects and just the more of the gore factor, where we just gotta have to have that blood and gore and um, the CGI blood and all that. Um, but I guess like the original Leatherface has set such a thing. He's in the game Dead by Daylight. I believe he's getting his own video game now, and for all the sequels to follow, it's just kind of um, that figurehead in the horror um, franchises where it's just they had to up the game this time around.
Yeah, like I'm like it definitely like I'm kind of like I'm gonna yeah like that's definitely going on in this. It's just interesting. Like this was a mess. Like it was a mess of a movie, and like it was bad and dumb, but I don't know. Like it's just weird. It was just a mess, and like sometimes like movies that are like that could be good, and sometimes not. And the first time I watched it, it's like now that I have the baby, it's hard to watch movies like all the way through. It's usually the beginning starts off real well, and then the middle is like it's fuck if we can pay attention too well, and then by the end maybe she'll be asleep, and I can kind of watch the end pretty good. So it's like I ended up watching it again. Like it was just weird. It was just like it was just like the first time around, I kind of was just getting annoyed by it,
Mm.
and it like it wasn't until that scene like with when fucking Sally's in the bedroom with Leatherface, where I was like, what the fuck is this? It's just weird because yeah, like why didn't she shoot him, and why didn't he kill her? If only 2 minutes later they're gonna be outside and doing the same shit that he's gonna try to kill her, and he's gonna. Then I'm like, I just started thinking, well, what the hell? And like again, and I started trying to play the movie again in the background and like try to pay attention to it a little bit more. And then it just stuff started to occur to me. Like I don't know. Like I guess I'm gonna maybe try to give you my deep dive weirdo theories about some of this shit.
Hmm.
Like this movie is very much like it's very meta. That's in my thing, and some of it's gonna sound fucking crazy probably, or like I'm fixating on stupid shit. But like it's very meta, and at least to me, and it's heavy on the theme of the old versus the new. And it starts off kind of by their. It's weird because they're watching the video in the gas station. It looks like it's a DVD, but at the same time, it looks like it's a VHS. So it's like some weird thing. But they're watching the movie, so it's kind of like this meta thing. Because there's even like if it's a documentary, it's a documentary. But there's even like it showed like the dead armadillo from the first movie.
Hmm.
So it's like, are they watching a documentary or are they watching the movie? So is this kind of weird? This to me, this is a movie about overall. This is like if you watch the movie, if you rewatch it, and I recommend you do rewatching it. Think of it as I don't know if it's the writers or the directors. It's them telling the story about how they're going to try to redo this franchise. So, and again, this might be a weird and exaggeration, but at the beginning, when they're at the gas station and they're leaving before they meet Richter, Dante's like, I guess he got signal somewhere and he tells them, okay, and he's referring to the bus of investors. He goes, the bus took a wrong turn about 20 miles ago, but it'll be catching up with us pretty soon. So my thing is maybe it's referring to, instead of 20 miles ago, it's referring to 20 years ago. 20 years ago was roughly when the Jessica Biel Texas Chainsaw Massacre came about.
Hmm.
So maybe that's a reference to 20 years ago. We tried to do this and it didn't work out too well. It took a wrong turn. It didn't work out. But now this new one is going to be the thing. So, and like, okay, like maybe I'm just being weird. So then I try to, like, in my head, I'm trying to see what's the significance of these characters. Like, again, like, also, I don't give a shit about like characters. Like, it's weird in the character. Like, I always do care about character development, but like in the Chainsaw, the original one, it didn't really matter. But like you said, they tried harder on this one, and they were doing like social commentary and shit. So if I were to break down like some of the characters and try to give them some significance, the blonde girl, Dante's fiance, Ruth,
Mm.
though, which she's like the first one of the main characters to die. I would say she symbolizes just superficialness, like just being superficial, like the modern generation, just the portion of the modern generation that's just superficial.
Mm.
Because literally, when the old lady died, she looks back and the first thing she does is just text, "Old lady's dead," and she acts sad. But like, instead of trying to show actual humanity or anything, her first initial thing is to go to her cell phone and text about it. So okay, she's a modern, superficial, whatever. And then the next character, Dante, he's also like all these characters are like the modern. He's modern, but he has real. He's like he doesn't have any regard for the past. Like his thing is just it's Dontopia or whatever. It's like he's represents the audience, the watching audience that's new and young, but doesn't really give a shit about old Chainsaw Massacre movies. He's just, what the hell, if there's blood or whatever, that's all I care about, gore or whatever. He just represents the new generation that has no regard for the old. Like he didn't care about the orphanage lady and shit like that.
Yeah.
So then there's Mel. She's also modern, but she has regard for the past because her family was part of the past. And she's more sympathetic. She even apologizes to Leatherface at one point when she thinks she's going to die. Like, "I'm sorry about your mom," or "I'm sorry about her." So she represents kind of like the newer audience that has some regard for the past and is kind of like a younger audience that maybe wasn't around during the original Chainsaw Massacres, but kind of is okay. I could see and respect that, hey, that this movie, the original one, has some relevance and it's not just stupid. And then there's Layla, who's kind of, she's in between. She doesn't fit in either world. Like, and I guess her function, Layla, at least at the beginning, is she's like the modern, and then she's the modern Sally. She's just the helpless woman. She has no control over her life. Her sister is like bossing her around and trying to look after her. And a lot of what this movie is trying to do is they're trying to, I guess, rewrite Sally's character because, like I said, in the original one, Sally had no offense and Sally was just like, she was just helpless as like, yeah. And she was just weak. Not in it, like, not to say that we expect her to fist fight Leatherface or anything, but she's just the weak, like, just like, yeah, like her being just, yeah, she's just like this weak old mentality version of like the fucking horror movies where the naked
damsel in
chicks is running in the
distress.
woods. There you go. That's the better phrasing. She's the damsel in distress. That's her, at least at the beginning. And then there's Richter, who represents like the toxic masculinity, like the hero dude, the good looking and tough guy that comes in with the gun and the truck, and he's like the cowboy guy he's the normal stereotype hero. So that's kind of like Richter's character. And the old lady, I guess would be the other character that's got some significance to me. She represents or she's the orphanage. She's the keeper of Leatherface. she's the keeper of the legacy. It's like this Chainsaw Massacre franchise has been in purgatory or limbo, and it comes here and there. It's kind of dying or whatever. She's kind of like she's what houses that legacy or something along those lines. Maybe if I thought about it more, I can piece it together. But more along the lines, this is what these characters, these archetypes represent. And this fucking, it started to dawn on me, like what I said, when I started rewatching, because it felt weird. Like I said, I couldn't pay attention too much to like the middle third of the movie and just a little bit in the beginning, a little bit in the end. But I thought that scene was weird with Sally and Leatherface in the bedroom.
Mm.
And then even later on, there's this interesting badass camera angle that it does, like where, like when Sally's going after Leatherface at the end, not Sally, fucking Liza or Layla or whatever's going after Leatherface when she's empowered to go after him.
Mm.
That does this real interesting camera shot where, say, Sally's heading into the movie theater in the direction east, and it doesn't look like there's a cut or anything, but then it shows inside the theater she's coming in from the west side, or it's opposite.
Mm.
It does some weird looking shot where it's like, why the fuck, if the guy didn't give a shit, why would he put such an interesting this movie? So then I started thinking, because that was at the end, and I was like kind of roughly paying attention, thinking this was stupid. And I was like, well, maybe there's more going on than whatever. And if he's willing enough to put something like that in the movie, maybe there's other shit in there. And then when I was rewatching it the second time around, it all comes down to the fucking dispute. And what was the old lady and Dante and them arguing about, and Mel?
About the about being able to live there at the house or the being able to stay in the
Yeah. Well, who owns the deed, right?
yeah.
So that's fucking meta as hell. It's like, who does Leatherface now belong to? Does he still belong to the old fans? Or does he belong to the new fans? Does he belong to this new generation? Is Leatherface is he still, like, what the fuck are they supposed to do as the writer? Because it's not the same guy. It's like there was guys that wrote it, and then there was a guy that directed it.
Mm.
So I don't know if this was the writing involved or if it's the direction, like the way the movie was shot. But there's meta shit going on. It's like, who owns Leatherface now? Like, who is it? Are we still gonna try to placate the old audience, or are we gonna try to win over the new audience? Are we gonna try to modernize Leatherface? And when you start thinking about that, it kind of makes a little bit of more sense. Some of the shit that's going on. I don't know. Does that sound like? Because like it is to me, like the orphanage just represents limbo, and it's just he's collecting dust.
Yeah.
Or is he going to find a new home with this new audience?
And like can see how, especially with the orphanage, because that just seems odd. Because at the gas station, the first movie happened, which means he would have had the family. But then in the orphanage, it seems like, especially with the picture of Leatherface, it's implying he was an orphan.
Oh yeah, that's stupid. Like I don't even try paying attention to like the fucking story, because like when it comes to that, because then if you look, I think like when I was watching it again, and I told my wife, like it said like 1975 on the orphanage picture, and I think the original Chainsaw took place in 73, 74. And I was like, what the fuck? Leatherface was a grown ass man, and the other one, and yet he's an orphan in this thing. So it's like,
Yeah.
if you try to, like, he would have been what, 16 in the original one when he did these murders, and then he went to the orphanage after that. Like he was, so like, yeah, it's hard to try to pay attention to the timeline and like the thing of that. Like I don't even try to like defend that, or that it's just stupid.
Because yeah, and at the end, like to what you're trying to say, like he's going back to the house, which any of the old fans would realize, oh shit, he's going home. So depending, I'm assuming on the success of this film, whether or not they're gonna try and make a sequel and see where that goes. If they're gonna try and tie that, I don't know how they're gonna try and tie that in for like the original um, fans, the older fans, especially like I don't know that the old movies got weird, especially like when he was starting to wear dresses and makeup and all that. Like I don't know if he's gonna be doing that in these.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I'm hopeful because there's a lot of more weird shit that's going on in this. At least in my head, I'm making more of it maybe. But just to finish off with that old versus new stuff, it's fucking interesting because the final battle culminates in a fucking movie theater. So it's like, who owns this? And like I know, like I had mentioned that I guess they thought this was going to be released in theaters, but it's still like this meta thing that maybe the writers wrote that like, who owns Leatherface? Is it going to be something that's going to stay in the past, or is it what we're going to be able to transition it to the new? And it's just weird because the original like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which is the best one out of all of them by far, there's no fucking showdown. Like it's just there's no. It's not even a game. It's just like fucking Leatherface kicks your ass, he fucking kills, and that's it. Like there's no showdown where he shoots you, he shoots at him, he chops at you, he whatever, he jump on his
Yeah,
back, he wrestle through the ground. It's just like boom, boom, you're dead, boom, boom, that's it. It's like it's not like that's what's so fucking badass about it. Like it's not like it's not like there's a fight scene in it. It's just like you're getting killed or you're running, almost gonna get killed. Like it's like there's
yeah,
no. And so like okay, like I don't think that's gonna work for modern audiences. And like so they upgraded it to where they have the showdown in the movie theater, and like it's just a lot of weird shit. And if you watch it and maybe like it's weird, like when he's on the bus killing like the fucking hipsters. I don't know if this is a Freudian thing or not, but the chainsaw is like almost like it's his dick or something. He's like penetrating these fucking young hipsters, or he's trying to fuck over the new audience. He's like literally like if you watch it, there's this scene where he penetrates this dude, and it looks weird. It looks like he's like fucking Cannibal Corpse fucked with a knife, but fucked with the chainsaw. Like it's weird, and it's like okay, is this like some commentary about him fucking the new? And then shortly after, he fucking kills Sally outside the bus, or almost kills Sally, but the same thing. He penetrates her with his thing, and I know like fucking guns is or penises in all movies, Freudian, whatever. But he kills Sally, and she's groaning like if he's having sex with her, but like she's getting stabbed, and it's almost like he's climaxing. Like the blood is like the fucking
yeah.
semen all over the place, but she's like climaxing, and it's like going all over, and it's just kind of weird. So it's like it goes back to like, and then like I like the thing like I thought on the original one where like, and Leatherface is indiscriminate. Like he doesn't care. Like he doesn't hold vendettas, or he doesn't have fucking memories. And like that's what like I said, it made me start thinking like, well, why didn't he just fucking kill Sally at the like? What is going on? Like it's just a stupid scene. Like, but it's like he doesn't care, and like she's just like I don't know. There has to be like I'm trying to think it out now. Like, so she's like she's kind of like represents him, or she represents the old audience. And he wasn't ready to kill that part off yet, or until fucking after he killed the new part. Like, I don't know.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think it out in my head. But there's a lot going on. And it's just like a lot, like I said, like I'm hopeful with this because like I said, they have this battle in the movie theater, and then it's like stupid shit. It's like the director or the writers wrote this in, one of the two. I don't know how it went down, but this fucking pit of water inside a movie theater was just weird. Like, why was this swimming pool of water inside the movie theater, right?
Yeah.
And like it had just barely started raining like sometime during the day, so I guess like it rained enough to fill up this whole thing of water. Like it just seems weird. So then if it's like so okay, so it's kind of stupid and illogical, so then it must have some metaphorical meaning to it. So then okay, so it's like okay, well like in fucking every movie, or not every movie, but a lot of movies that use that trope, when you fall in the water it's like rebirth or a cleansing or something.
Yeah.
So Lila comes out, she's like the fish crawling out of the water and starts to walk, so she's like evolving. She's evolving from this fucking damsel in distress, this dame, that bimbo that doesn't have any type of offense or any type of anything, so she's going to become the Sarah Connor type character. She's like evolving, and since Leatherface came out of it, maybe the same thing can be said for him. Like maybe his character is going to evolve. I don't know, but it's just I guess supposed to be cathartic. Like she's no longer just the victim. She's empowered. She's the empowered heroine, the anti Sally, the anti original Sally.
Mm.
And then if you think about it even more, it's repeated the same theme from the original one. The gun versus the hammer, or the gun versus the chainsaw, the modern versus the new. She has the gun, he has the chainsaw. It's just like how they used to kill the cows. They used to kill the cows with the hammer. And now they use the gun. Leatherface is displaced. He's no longer able to keep up with the modern. So it's like this theme's coming full circles. So it's just, I don't know, there's fucking things like, and like I know, like, so I don't know what that means on Leatherface. Like just, and again, I'm fucking going on, I'm meandering, but like, if you want to evolve from being this displaced person that can't keep up with modern times, the way you can do that is by becoming educated. So I don't know if it means like Leatherface is gonna, and like maybe they hinted at Leatherface trying to trick her with the chainsaw, but maybe Leatherface is slightly gonna become more smarter, but like kind of like fucking George Romero did with the zombies, like in Land of the Dead and shit, where the zombies started getting more smarter and shit, and they started to evolve.
Yep.
So like I don't know if they're hinting at something like that, because that's a way you can combat like his stagnation and his lack of education. And like one of the early Chainsaw Massacres, not the original one, I remember seeing it. It was a stupid scene where Leatherface is playing with one of those speaking spells where he's spelling cat like C-A-T, cat. But then what if there's more to that? What if Leatherface is trying to advance his situation because he's trying to educate himself? Like I don't remember which one. That might have been part 2 or part 3, but like
I was
it's
just
like what if
thinking about
this,
that scene.
yeah, like what if it's like this theme, like where if he wants to advance from his thing, he has to educate, but like
But
he's likely not going to be able to.
for that, sorry, but in that same scene, like you're talking about, it's showing like different pictures, and you have to like, yeah, type it out, and it's showing like a person, and the answer would be like boy or girl or whatever, but he spells out food,
Yeah.
and he keeps typing, and it's like it keeps telling him wrong or something. I think he gets like mad at it or frustrated, but yeah, like that's his interpretation of seeing that picture. It's like it's a person's food.
I guess it was more comic relief. Like I know the second one was really like trying to be funny, like the opposite of the original one.
Yeah.
But like I guess like a thing too. Like I'm just like fixated. Like I told you, I was telling you before we did this. Like I was just fixating on all this weird shit because it's like I don't know. Maybe it's a combination of both. Maybe the writers are writing this meta thing, and maybe the director is trying to kind of put in these interesting things, like trying to subvert
Especially
us.
like you said, how the test screening, like after repeated test screenings, how it just flopped it for a theater release. So that's where they kind of went with some of these how you're talking about these, I would say, theories or views where with him, yeah, like killing the hipsters, depending on what the majority of the test screeners were, who like what the demographics were. If it were like, yeah, the hipsters or millennials or the older crowd, whoever it was that just poo-pooed the movie for a theater launch.
Yeah, like, and like I can see it both ways, where this is a shit movie, but at the same time, like there's some good stuff going on here. I'm not gonna say this is a good movie, but it shows, like, if it was a student, you would say, hey, whoa, this student is showing improvement or is showing potential,
Yeah,
because there's a lot of visual things that are interesting and symbolic in this. And like some of these scenes that seem like throwaway, maybe I'm fucking making more out of it than it is, but like the scene where she walked out of the Lila walked out of the bathroom with Richter, and the sister thinks that they had sex. It is like they didn't have sex in the movie, but metaphorically they kind of did have sex. Like they consummated this thing where, like, Lila or Layla is going to be this new amalgamation of that. She's going to be the hero, kind of. She's going to be some combination of Richter and like this new victim. Like it's like something consummated there. It wasn't like they literally did have sex, but it
yeah,
was like this visual consummation of like her character that was going to be birthed at the end. This gun, like, instead of being a victim of the gun, she's going to be like empowered with it. And it's like, I don't know if I'm making more out of it, or so it's like maybe I'm fucking just being stupid with it. But then there's other shit that goes on. Like, this is gonna be fucking crazy. Maybe, maybe not. And I'll try to send you some pictures. I was trying to tell you, like, I don't know. I'll send you some
yeah,
pictures. Like, it's just me shitty taking pictures of the TV. But I think there's some religious, like, some religious themes going on in this,
hmm,
and that Leatherface possibly could be a Christ character or fucking like iconic. Like it's weird because the first time we see Leatherface, do you remember he's in the stairway?
yeah, in front of the stained glass.
Yeah, and it's around the back of his head like a fucking halo. Or and I looked it up. I don't know what the thing was called. Like I looked it up. It's like a halo, or it's called a nimbus.
Hmm.
And it's, yeah, like those old timey paintings where the religious figures have that halo circle around them with light.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I just did a quick wiki leak, or just a Google search, like halo, what's it called, nimbus or whatever, and it says it's a crown of light rays, circle or disc-like, that surrounds a person in art. It has been used in the iconography of many religions to indicate a holy or sacred figure, and at various periods also been used in images of rulers or heroes. So, like, there's like subliminally giving you this image of Leatherface being like this fucking godlike figure, iconic. And it's like, as the writers or the directors, how the fuck are they gonna, like, how the fuck are they gonna do this right? Because it's a lot on their plate, you know? It's like, how are we going to handle this character that people hold so fondly, you know what I mean? That have people, like you were mentioning earlier, I think it was in this video or the other one, about like Leatherface being this iconic character.
Yeah.
So it's just fucking crazy. I could even hear Corey Taylor yelling, "How dare you martyr me?" Like, this is very much like that song, that fucking Unsainted Slipknot song.
Hmm.
But it's like almost like the creators are like, well, how the fuck do we deal with this? And then even in my head, I'm like, nah, this is me just fucking reaching for shit. But when we first see Leatherface, when he carries the old lady into the ambulance thingy,
Yeah.
there's a little bit of light on his face when they close the door. You don't see his face, but there's a little bit of light. And then it goes to the scene where once he fucking kills and he decides he's going to be Leatherface again, he kills the cops and he kills everybody and he cuts the face off and he's leaving. it starts thundering in the background, like the sunlight is giving way to the darkness, and then the rain comes, and it's like so does Leatherface's fucking old Leatherface and the rage and shit,
Hmm.
the dark clouds and everything. And like, okay, so fucking I'm being stupid and I'm being fucking crazy. But what this is fucking stupid. It's fucking crazy, but I don't know if you noticed in the old lady's room there's a lot of religious paraphernalia, like crosses and shit.
Hmm.
And she told Leatherface, be a good boy and don't go into my room. Like, yeah, remember that?
Yeah, yeah,
And then if you watch it again, or even if you just watch that scene again,
yeah. Hmm.
Leatherface's fucking chainsaw is behind a painting of Jesus and Mary, and it's literally it's a painting. I tried to look it up more, but like I didn't put a lot of effort into looking it up.
Yeah.
But it's a picture of Mary holding Jesus, I guess after the crucifixion.
Hmm.
It's called a Pieta or some shit. I don't know. You can look it up, but that's what the image. I think Michelangelo is known for that sculpture or image or whatever.
Hmm.
But it's supposed to symbolize like hope or death or something. Hope and death. I guess there's hope and death, and I guess resurrection or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's what the fucking chainsaw is behind that picture. So like if I'm making shit up, these guys are putting little bits of shit in there. I'm like, maybe I'm fucking being weird, but the chainsaw was behind that picture of Mary holding Jesus. And okay, it's coincidence or whatever, but I don't know. And like it's supposed to be hope and death, so maybe like it's supposed to symbolize to us that this old Leatherface is dead, but there's hope in this newer version, maybe that we're trying to resurrect. And like you were saying, like, and if you look at the post-credit scene, it's like Leatherface is going back home again. It's like that saying, "Can you ever really go back home again?" Like it fucking kind of reminded me of Twin Peaks because Twin Peaks tried to do the same shit 25 years after the fact, and I think they did a great job.
Hmm.
It might not have worked out for Laura Palmer too great, but it's that thing of, can you go home again after so much time?
Yeah.
And if you look at that post-credit scene, Leatherface is returning home, going back home again, and the sun is shining like boom bright. So it's trying to be hopeful in the fact that, hey, like maybe it's trying to be like subliminally telling the audience like there's hope and resurrection or whatever. And it's just like if like how the other original one also had moon and sun in it, and like I said, Saturn retrograde. I don't know what the fuck that is again, but and also in one of the scenes, on the night scenes, he's killing, or he swings the chainsaw, and you see the moon behind his head real quick. And then at the end too, when Layla puts on her cowboy hat, the sun is like circling around her head, like making that same image. So it's like in my head, there's more going on. Yeah, this is a shitty movie, and like it's not like, but there's hope in this movie, and there's a lot of interesting things that are going on in this movie because those aren't all accidental scenes. Like somebody is putting effort into this. It's not a paycheck movie. So like I don't know, like it made me appreciate it more. Like it doesn't make it a great movie or a good movie, but it makes it a hopeful movie, and it's better than probably what people think it is. Like I'm pretty sure everybody's just shitting on it,
Yeah.
and I can see that, but there's a lot more shit going on in here, I think, than people realize. I don't know. I know I'm fucking going crazy, but it's like when I started watching it again, like I had to just stop watching because I was like, man, I'm gonna turn into Jim Carrey and start fixating on all this shit.
But oh, it seems pretty interesting. It's like I have to watch that scene, like you said, Leatherface on the top of the stairs with the stained glass behind him. Because yeah, that orphanage, that part was like inside was very dark, except for that, yeah, that little, I was just to say, like the halo around him.
Yeah, there's definitely like it's not just accidental. It's like if the the director didn't give a shit, why go through that effort, and why go through the effort of putting clouds and dark clouds and light and trying to link light and darkness and stuff like that?
Yeah.
And there's like, I don't know, there's like stuff, and then the same thing with the religious painting. Like the chainsaw could have just been fucking under the bed or behind the wall, but why the painting being there and also the halo being around his head?
Yeah.
And then the thing with the water too, like what the hell? Like why would that hole be so filled with water to where it's like, yeah, like this fucking pool of water? Like it doesn't doesn't make sense unless, yeah, like I said, like they needed to get that shot to make some metaphorical connection, you know?
Yeah.
Because it, like, what was the point of the water being there? Like, it didn't need that unless it symbolizes something. And if they go through the effort to do that, then it's like, it's not complete shit. Like, there's horror movies that are complete shit that don't try any at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just what it is, whatever slasher TNA flick.
Yeah, and this is getting a lot of bad shit, and it's stupid, but I could appreciate that they're trying in certain areas as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But I definitely think it's, yeah, this commentary on the old audience and the new audience and how these people, like, who owns Leatherface now? Where does Leatherface belong now in this world?
Yeah, especially for such a horror, almost like, yeah, like a horror god, and we're how's it gonna do with any newer sequels? Is it gonna get a new another sequel, or is it just gonna kind of peter out until the next um, rebirth comes along?
Yeah, I'm imagining that's what they're trying to do. Like they're trying to like rewrite and they're trying to modernize it, like the old retro ways of thinking that the women were only meant to be saved and can't be the heroes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because the Terminator Genesis did that quite a bit. I don't know if you ever saw that one or not, but yeah.
Uh, Only Terminator 2 is what exists. Terminator 1 and Terminator 2.
Well, there's like
I've never seen it.
there's like six other Terminator movies need to bring you up to speed.
Nah, you're full of shit.
Yeah,
There's only 2 Terminator movies and that's it.
there's more.
But I mean, I take your word for it. But I think too, because I guess it was just a bad taste that probably if you reanalyze Sally's character, it's just very little to nothing redeeming about her as like a heroine type character. I mean, not that they try to sell her as a heroine character in the original, but it's like, I guess that time is gone. That old time of horror movies, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And there'll be the occasional to make a quick buck or whatever. Yeah, it's just gonna be the running through the forest TNA, but um, it's definitely a changing of the times.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm hopeful. Like, and I'm assuming like it's probably going to be shit, but at least I hope they keep the same writer director team or whatever, and hopefully they get another crack at it.
Yeah. If you don't mind me asking though, what did your wife think of both films?
Oh, she liked the original one. Like I said, I told you last time. I don't know if she was just trying to like make me feel good. I believed her though. She liked the original one. She thought the second one was dumb and she didn't like it much. But like I said, then I started fucking fixating on it and try to watch it again. And then I think she just listens to me and didn't try to tell me I'm crazy. At least
Yeah.
she's like, he's just a dude with a chainsaw that kills people. That's it. I'm like, he's possibly Jesus. He's I don't know.
And he too died and came back when he fell in
Yeah,
the pool.
yeah, yeah. I think that's too his thing too, where he was kind of bubbling up. Yeah, his resurrection thing.
Because I don't know if he got shot like in the stomach slash rib area or not. I
Yeah,
don't know. I
more
could be reaching.
Neo style. Well,
Yeah.
that's how. Yeah, that's how Neo died and became the one.
Yes. So that's what we're taking from this, that Leatherface is Jesus.
Possibly, or yeah, godlike at least. I don't know.
He died for your sins.
Hell's yeah. I don't know. I'd go to church for that.
Church of Leatherface.
Yep. But
Um,
anyway, that's my fucking weird thoughts on that stupid movie.
yeah, quite a few weird thoughts.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was entertaining. Like, yeah, the I just thought it was silly too. Just like, yeah, like the fast travels. Just like, yeah, when they're getting ready to evict the old lady and Leatherface, and I think they barely like leave the house, and like the cops like as soon as the door closes, the cops are already in there to kick their asses out, and then wherever
Yeah.
they crashed in the cornfield into the tractor, and it seemed like it was a decent drive, and Leatherface is back in the orphanage what looks like maybe 20 minutes later or something. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of, and like I said, just story wise, it's just kind of dumb and like I don't know, but hopefully it's not like somebody trying to compensate for the other person. Like maybe it's the director trying to overcompensate for a weak writing script, or maybe like something like that by trying to put more into it. You know what I mean? Like he can only do what he can with what he has to work with, or what they give him to work with. And it's like, yeah, like some of those, like you said, those leaps are kind of like,
Yeah, I can go with the Leatherface is Jesus though, or yeah, godlike.
yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
Like, I'll try to send you that picture I took on my phone, but yeah, it's like he has that halo around him.
yeah, I mean, he couldn't be killed. He was shot numerous times. He got uppercut by a chainsaw and kind of potentially drowned, survived a car accident, and
More than Jesus did.
yeah,
Jesus was just crucified, but Leatherface went through all that.
no joke. He's pretty strong too.
Ugh.
So, I think we're at a closing for this session of the Odds and Ends Movie Corner.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, yes, this is gonna wrap up our part two of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, anybody who has these thoughts, or anybody who fucking thinks of anything else, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm fucking crazy. Or if you saw any other shit, anybody else who ever sees any weird shit like that in the movie that I missed, or I
Yes,
don't know.
definitely let us know in the comments section if you have any other crazy fan theories, or if you think Augie's just full of crap. You can let us know that too.
Oh, that's true already. I can tell you that. But a little nugget comes out from that crap every once in a while.
Yes, but yeah, I think this is good. It's good two sessions. We'll definitely be sure to keep going with this, our odds and ends movie corner. Um, obviously 2003 here, joined with Augie the Froggy.
Hey,
Yes. If you haven't yet, be sure to like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff for our channel. Stay safe, stay tuned for more, and don't forget to settle down.